Hi everyone! Today's episode is part of our AI and IP special. In this episode, we're exploring the fascinating connection between artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things, and how these two are shaping the world around us in incredible ways. We'll be joined by Michael Zhdanau, former CEO of Widerix, who will share his journey using AI to create innovative solutions. Think about smarter homes, improved GPS occurrence, and much more. Along the way, we'll also tackle the challenges of building AI responsibly, from ethical considerations to the complexity of intellectual property. Join us. Hello, this is IP Stories by 4IP Council, a podcast about innovation and intellectual property. Join us and you'll hear about the journeys through invention, creation, and IP understanding of our guests.
I'm Marta.
And I'm Fernanda, and today we're happy to welcome to our podcast Michael Zhdanau, experienced software engineering and product manager and former CEO of Widerix. Michael, thank you so much for coming to our podcast. Before talking about your work at Widerix, it would be great to know more about you and your background. Could you tell us what led you to where you are today?
Hi to everybody, and thank you for having me here. I'm more than happy to join your podcast and to speak about this topic. So, coming back to your question, I started as a DevOps many years ago, and I always was a person, probably it's because of DevOps, who wanted to make more and to do something better. And that's why, after a couple of iterations in different companies, I realized that what I like to do is to invent something new and to build something better. And it brings me to this attempt to start my own business. It was Widerix, and I was very excited to doing this thing because, as I said previously, my focus was on making things better, and I was happy make uh, to make things better for my clients. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I got this experience. And actually, as a product manager, this is almost the same, because building right products with software engineering teams is exactly what I like to do, and exactly what makes me happy and brings me wake up every morning.
You founded a company called Widerix, as we just mentioned, that is defined as the only software agency focused on AI for IoT. Could you explain what this entails, perhaps giving some examples so that we understand better?
Yeah, a good question. Everybody heard about AI nowadays. Yeah, it's buzzword. It's everywhere. If you have a product, you need to add AI there to make product popular and attract more money. We all know this. But for my thoughts about which domain and which positioning to choose, I led to my experience building IoT products with the use of machine learning technology. What is machine learning? Machine learning is like approach which enables computers to learn from a data and make precisions. So, for example, facial recognition technology probably is the best example of machine learning itself. This is when you need to make a computer identify your face. And to make it possible, you need, first of all, to show a lot of faces, a lot of images of your face to a computer, and tell where exactly is your face and where is not, to make this prediction possible and to enable learning. So this is like we learn usually. So we, for example, take a glass of water, show it for a child and say that, look, this is glass. It's called glass. And after making like 5 iterations of showing this glass to a child, this child starting realizing that this is glass and name it as like a glass. So the same is machine learning. So coming back to IoT, why IoT? Because for the Internet of Things world, there is always a lot of data behind all these devices connected to some platform. And the biggest advantage of using machine learning or AI for IoT is because it already has a lot of data. So, for example, for many projects in world related to software engineering, the biggest problem of integrating AI or machine learning to this to their systems is because they don't have data. They don't have photos to show to a computer to teach it how to recognize somebody on these photos. And that's why it led me to a conclusion that if I would like to provide software services related to implementation of different models of AI to some clients, these clients should be from IoT world because they always have data. And there's always a good match of using AI technology for them because in this case, it will be some good result because the data is already there in place. And that's why Widerix was established as a company which serves AI, which provides AI solutions for IoT world.
Mm-hmm. With regards to the type of software that you have developed, because this is something that I wanted to ask you before, when you talk about product management in software engineering, could you tell us maybe like something that you have developed for a client that you are like particularly proud of, or that it's especially cool? I really like the example, by the way, of the face recognition. It creeps me out, but at the same time, I think it's amazing. Like everything related with technology nowadays, I have that sort of like mixed feelings.
Um, I have two examples. First is more technical, and second is more clear for everybody because this scenario will be applicable for wider audience. So first one is about having machine learning used for GPS tracking software in order to improve accuracy. Because we all probably saw how GPS route is printed or drawn on a map when we move with our smartwatch, with our cell phone, which tracks our route and so on. And when we stay at one place, for example, for half hour, for just waiting somebody, it will be a lot of lines drawn on a map because the accuracy of GPS itself is not so good. And it depends on many factors like GPS signal, a lot of buildings around, the atmosphere itself, magnetic atmosphere, and so on and so forth. And when we will leave this place on the map, we will see a lot of lines drawn around one place. And it means it can look like that we moved all of this time, but we stayed at one place. And when we implemented machine learning algorithm for solving this problem, it was just a topic related to making the accuracy of the software better by using machine learning to educate patterns of our movements and combining it with data from GPS to draw just one point of a map and showing that we just stayed there for a long time, not just like drawing all of these lines around us. So this is applicable, this is use case of how it was used for IoT software. And the second use case is more simple because it's about smart home. We all probably face it with smart home scenarios and implementations, and we all know that, for example, for night we need to reduce our power consumption or energy consumption. We need to turn light only when we arrive to some place of our home, not just like having all time lights on. But there is also a huge potential for improvement because different family members have different scenarios and different preferences of having temperature, light, condition, and so on and so forth. And by using facial recognition in this scenario, we can identify who is exactly in some place of our home and adjust our scenarios of using temperature, using heating, and other stuff based on this person who is exactly at this room for that moment. So, of course, there is some tricky moments when there are a couple of family members in this room. But in any case, it could be again defined how we treat the system, how the system should behave in this situation. But just by using facial recognition, we can improve our conditions of our smart homes. So this is a great example of how AI can bring real value, not just adding some chatbot on the site which just provide you wrong answers and you get just angry by asking it to provide you some human online and to talk with human.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I'm always cold. I'm
Me
always
too.
colder than everyone else. So I was thinking like that would be perfect for me.
And this use case is exactly based on user preferences because many people don't want to like manually adjust these heating preferences every time, or they have fight with their family members about which temperature we need to set up and so on.
I mean, in my house, we have a silence war where every time someone goes by the regulator, they change it. And then someone else goes by and they change it back.
And yes, and in this case, this is exactly the use case which brings our lives better. So we have a problem about like having comfortable conditions in our rooms, and AI can help with automatic regulations of these conditions. And this is this leads to a topic that I always like. Use cases which are based on the market research instead of having some kind of things added to your system just for hype or whatever.
This is a great example. I'm going to research that product.
By the way, there are a couple of them already on the market, and majority of them based on the US geography. I mean, because their smart home scenarios and systems are quite widely spread in comparison with Europe. First of all, this is topic related to the cost of energy, because for smart homes and security, of course. Because for Europe, for at least for some countries in Europe, this is not so critical, and but for the US, they are struggle of having topics related to economy and of course for security. And especially for
Mhm.
security, they have a lot of cameras installed in their homes, and based on this already installed cameras, it's already it's a good possibility to implement these facial recognition scenarios for improving smart home behavior.
And I'm wondering, like, what was the most common requests that you got from your clients at Widerix?
This is a very good question regarding AI because this is always about data validation. As we started previously, regarding the IoT world, they already have data. But having data doesn't mean that you can implement machine learning algorithms or model, because data should be structured and data should have some patterns which could be used to educating machine learning model about some kind of making predictions or some other scenarios. And almost all requests which we got were related to this initial phase of checking the data is possible to use to implement some model, and what is especially important is some specific accuracy. We didn't take attention to this term, but in few words and in general, accuracy is how much algorithm can be accurate in solving some kind of task. So, for example, if to simplify, it's very high simplification, but for example, we have 10 photos of me showing to computer. And of course, if it's all these photos, if me is printed on all of these photos, computer can identify all of them. In this case, the accuracy is 100%. But for example, if two photos of me were not identified like me, in this case, accuracy will be only 80%. And for example, if we implement some kind of facial recognition for our smartphone, and accuracy will be always like some kind of 20% only, we will not be satisfied because it will be only in 2 cases from 10. It will be the system will adjust preferences based on our preferences. I mean, based on our appearance in some room. So in this case, accuracy is extremely important metric for all projects, and that's why almost all requests which we got, we started from getting some samples of data and understanding what should be solved and how, and which accuracy is possible to achieve in this case. Because like it's possible to do whatever we want, but the question which result we will have at the end. And the accuracy and the identification of or like checking accuracy at the beginning of a project highly increase chances to complete the machine learning project successfully at the end. And this is about client expectations, of course. Because, for example, for home recognition, home facial recognition, for example, accuracy of 70% can be good in general because, for example, in case you visited your home 1,000 times and then 700 times the temperature were adjusted as you like, it's more or less okay because the risks of not adjusting temperature is as you wish is not so huge. Of course, depending on the personal preferences. But for example, for medicine, for some security topics or military domain, accuracy should be quite very high. It should be some kind of 99% and 9. And in this case, early identification, early check of which accuracy will be possible to achieve is extremely important.
It's very interesting to hear you talking about accuracy and facial recognition because I have a friend that her mother can unlock her device because they are so similar. And now I understand why.
Yep,
That's so
this is
dangerous.
yep. And just image some kind of military base where just criminal can come and show his face and it will be unlocked because the system is accurate only on 50%. Or for example, from a second attempt, he gets the door unlocked because of the accuracy again, just 50%.
It's very interesting to hear you talking about accuracy and facial recognition because I have a friend that her mother can unlock her device because they are so similar. And now I understand why.
Yep,
That's so
this is
dangerous.
yep. And just image some kind of military base where just criminal can come and show his face and it will be unlocked because the system is accurate only on 50%. Or for example, from a second attempt, he gets the door unlocked because of the accuracy again, just 50%.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't think about that, but yeah, maybe we need to think about it a little bit more before we implement it in prisons. Maybe it needs like a little bit improvement to make sure that that accuracy is 100%.
Yep, and unfortunately, the pity story here is that achieving achieving last mile of accuracy. I mean, for example, from 99 to 99.1 can need uh, can need like x5 time more than building some basic model, and sometimes x5, for example, more in computer resources, because of course educating models require resources, and sometimes implementation of needed accuracy require more resources and more money than it will be possible to get as value as result later. So that's why calculating ROI for this project is also very important, and it's very important for owners of this project to understand that almost probably all results are possible to achieve from term of accuracy, but the question is how much money or resources will be needed to spend to achieve this accuracy. And of course, sometimes data is not suitable at all to achieve something. But this is less problem because you can add some sensors, add some kind of additional logging, additional data gathering, additional devices that can produce this information and so on. But again, this is just the resources, and you sometimes need to implement a lot of things in order to achieve just some basic result. And this is again about ROI and about profitability of these projects related to AI in general.
Right. So I understand you also worked on the launch of a new product, which is an application that enhances the reading experience with customizable illustrations. Could you tell us how it works?
Oh yeah, this is quite amazing project for product for readers, because we all, probably a lot of us, read books, and a lot of us try to image some things from these books. And sometimes when we see book with illustrations, we are excited because we can not only read an image but also take a look on this illustration and improve your imagination experience by having some additional draws of these characters from this book to your mind, to add them to your mind, I mean. And the idea of this application was to automatically generate illustrations and even videos based on the things you read in the book. And what is the most important is to customize them. So, for example, you get some illustration in your book you don't like. If you have a paper book, you have no chance to change this illustration. But for application, you can open a prompt and just write which step you would like to achieve, and the application will redraw it immediately, just with changes you just applied. And of course, it's very interesting for people who have a lack of imagination, and because for them reading sometimes is boring. And we all use this thing that's having time spent on Instagram feed, sometimes more excited from a short kind of dopamine instead of reading, because reading is about long process of generating these images inside of your head. So the idea here is to combine these vivid images from Instagram feed with your reading experience and help people with a lack of imagination to get a better experience while reading their favorite books.
I would make sure to use that when I'm reading my next legal books. We all know that law can be very interesting, but also not sometimes.
And I was wondering because right now I'm reading a book where there is this alien character that it's described in a very generic way, and they sort of like give you bits and pieces of information about how this alien looks like throughout the book. And I actually tried to use ChatGPT to see like if they could create the character, because I was
Aha.
like, I need to, like, I struggled trying to imagine this thing, because it's like in the moment that I was imagining one thing, then I realized that it didn't make sense because of the next chapter. Could you like use the full book and go like take every bit of information about this character from this book and create the illustration?
Yep, this is exactly was the idea of technical realization, because you never knew how the character is looking like, and there's a chance of making mistakes in drawing him or her or it in earliest phases of a book, and having the character differently described in the middle is quite high. So initially, the task of this algorithm is to take the whole book, process it, get the all information about some character and how it should look like, and draw initial visualization. Of course, there is a risk that the plot of a book is built in the way that you don't need to image this character at the beginning. But this is some kind of edge scenarios which is difficult to like predict on the earlier stages of making such product.
And how do authors feel about this software and about like these, AI generated illustrations? Because I can imagine that some of them might feel like, okay, this is great, like this might get people to read more. But if you are like a purist, you might find it like this is like an attempt against people's imagination or something. I don't know. Like, have you had any criticism?
Of course, it could be, but the point here is that people should choose, because in case for people is better, this functionality makes them read more, makes their reading process more exciting, and brings more emotion to their mind. Who cares about what people say? But because in case we all write, I mean, the authors write book for people to read. I hope, at least I hope so. The artist draws their paintings again for people just to bring emotions to their life. And in case something makes it better, improves this experience, we all should be focused on these improvements, not on just thoughts of a couple of people. Of course, it could be, because we're all different. We all vote for different things and we fight for different things, but we live together. And what we should be focused on is on improving our lives, instead of like focusing on just some kind of criticism from some author or some person or whoever.
Yeah, 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 completely. And in terms of the copyright, how does it work? Because like the illustration generated is based on the description of a character that it's, like created by the author. So do you need to have a authorization to use the book, or is the illustration like who does it belong to?
This is a very good point because this is exactly the topic which was researched on the earliest phases of this idea generation and validation. Because we all knew about copyright, especially for books. And there are different layers of this copyright because it's publishers' rights of a book, authors' rights to a book, authors' rights to a character or description of some character from this book, and so on. And for general, first layer about copyright in general, it depends on copyright itself. So for some books, you can use whatever you want, and for some, I don't remember exactly the name of this case, but when the book is, for example, national, it's on a national level, you can do whatever with this book. You can reuse it, you can copy it, you can paste somewhere because it's a national patent, you can do whatever with this thing. But for some kind of, for majority, for example, of science fiction books, the copyright is more or less strict. But again, this application don't used for republishing of the text itself. It just uses pieces of this text for generating some images. And these images itself also not used as some kind of art which is sold to some person. And of course, the right for this generated images will be passed to the users who use this application for generating for these images for their personal experience. Because in any case, the prompt can be whatever. And the art which was created by the user can depend on this prompt this user used for this in this application. So in any case, the right to the image generated based on some piece of text is passed to the user. Of course, if user will use this art for selling or for some kind of commercial use for their own purposes, it could be violation, but we will in any case inform users about it. But for some part of copyright related to derivative work is a question, because in case AI model will generate image of, for example, Harry Potter, quite similar to what is written in this book, this is a violation of derivative work subsection of copyright law, as far as I remember. And in this case, this is again, what is the purpose of using this image? If this purpose is just for local reading and local imagination, so nobody will punish you for imagination Harry Potter as it's written in a book. And the same as like generating local images which will be stored on your device and only on your device, for example. Even if you will publish it on Instagram, this is not a violation as for me. But this topic is a little bit tricky, of course, because the question is what exactly how exactly we treat it. And in any case, if I would like to move with this idea further, I would definitely go to some kind of lawyers to identify, to get deeper into details about this topic. Because for copyright itself, it's more or less okay. For derivative work, this could be questions. And of course, nobody wants to violate laws just because we need to move product to market, but we need to understand how to make it right.
I have to say, Michael, for a software engineer, you did sound like a lawyer for a bit there. And I would like to take this opportunity to ask you, when did you come across IP and how was your experience with it?
Yes, thank you. Actually, this started many years ago when I started participating in pre-sale phases of projects in a company I worked at, like probably 7 years ago. Because when you work in software engineering, especially in outsourcing, you always understand that documents written about the projects you are doing is the most important thing around your project because it exactly identifies which scope of work should be done, how it should be done, when and by whom, and for which money. And this is all about, it's not about intellectual property itself, of course, but this is about laws and about reading documents you are signing and starting reading them before you are going to sign them, of course. And intellectual property was also part of these documents because it was always needed to state who will be the owner of the software which was produced by a team according to some contract. Because in many cases, and this is a good, by the way, advice to all people who go to outsourcing companies, is to clearly define in your statement of work, which you signed with some outsourcing company, who will own, who will have rights to code and to a product generated during this contract. Because otherwise, it could be some tricky situation. For example, when during implementation of some cool and awesome product was developed some kind of technology which can be treated as intellectual property in general and can be patented. And in this case, if you pay for this work and for this technology and for this functionality, you would like to have the rights to this technology and to the software produced, and to make it possible to create some kind of patent to this work, to this functionality. And the advice here again, to add to every statement of work with every company you're working, statements regarding copyright and regarding ownership rights to a product and code which was generated during this contract.
And Michael, you are working in a very fast changing sector. I'm curious to know what is the biggest challenge you had to face up until this point of your career?
Well, it's interesting. For Widerix, I would say that when you are owner of a small startup, your challenge is to balance between organizing and doing sales, marketing, hiring, and staying up to date with technological stack from the market, what is generally available on the market. And this is quite challenging in itself. But what is probably the most important from challenges is to balance rapid innovation with sustainable growth. Because we know that there are a lot of different technologies, and we can propose to our clients whatever we want or whatever is available on the market. But the idea here and the challenge here is to use the right technologies which brings real value to clients instead of just selling something. Again, the same example with AI. AI can be added probably to 100% of all projects all around the world. The question which value they will bring to this projects. The same here. The challenge is to use right technologies which will help clients grow instead of using technologies which will just drain their budget.
So, as this is an AI special, we would like to know, what do you foresee in the future in the artificial intelligence landscape?
It's interesting. There is a lot of predictions about this topic, and of course, AI is transforming our world for sure. So we're having something new. I think that for the future, AI will bring new level of quality to our lives. Starting from a small automation we use at home and improving our lives in general by adding healthcare, for example, to our everyday lives. Just image you are like wearing glasses, and using these glasses, you can identify better your world around you and make predictions and make advices. Because we all know how it is important to share information with people. I mean, for example, ideas, and ask their opinion about that. But what if AI will be always with you and advising you on what you are doing, how you're speaking, how you're living, what you're eating, with whom you're talking, what you're talking, and so on. Somebody can say that this is quite huge danger, but just image how Gmail was introduced to our world many years ago. We thought that, we can't trust Google and pass all our emails to them by using Gmail and passing this information to their service directly. What we have now? We almost all use Gmail, and everything is fine. Of course, there are some leaks. Of course, there are some risks and so on. But humanity is becoming more progressive, and risks will be, in any case, a significant part of our lives. Data leaks, security breaches, whatever. But this is like ongoing technology, which will be also boosted by AI because its ability to improve security predictions and other stuff related to this. So I'm mostly positive about the AI in general. I would believe that this is some kind of progressive thing that will really change our world. Of course, I see risks for example, for people who could lose their jobs because it. But again, was the same like for previous time when Henry Ford implemented the supply chains or in general factories, when many people said that we will lose our works. But what we have is result. These people work on like making these factories better, on supporting their mechanism, robots, supply chains, and so on. It's the same for AI. For today, AI is a risk for people who can lose their job because of it. But for tomorrow, these people could get job, for example, by educating AI or helping AI or managing AI technologies or service infrastructure. We all see how companies like Microsoft acquiring nuclear power plants in order to produce more energy for the AI models. And this is, again, this is just a new places for work for all these people that can lose their job because of the AI. So the world is changing, and our world will never be the same. But our task here right now just to adopt. Of course, adopting is difficult, but as a person who is huge fan of anti-fragile theory from Mr. Taleb, I believe that having all these small risks and adopting to them will make the humanity stronger and will bring us to a better life tomorrow.
And we still need human interaction, definitely, because at least for the time being, it's not good enough for me to be out of the equation. So
probably good point here is that AI is not a human brain. It can't generate quite new and progressive, let's say, creative content. It can just reuse current content to generate something similar to new. So all people who are, for example, even people who are artists and who are drawing illustrations for books, there is a risk for them. But from other point of view, if they will use AI to simplify some part of their work, it can help them.
I'm afraid we are reaching the end of the podcast now, but it's been such a pleasure to have you here today and have this great chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marta and Fernando, as well. It was a pleasure for me to be there, and I hope that the information I shared will be useful for somebody around the world, and especially for people whom you're going to share the podcast. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
I hope you both have a great day, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to IP Stories by 4IP Council. Visit our website on 4ipcouncil.eu to find out more and check out the links mentioned during this episode. If you liked it, remember to share and subscribe.